going on, everybody? Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thanks for joining me today. So today we're going to do our first official vlog of the recently acquired '07 Honda Civic LX. We're not repairing anything yet. I did buy a few things already to begin the process, but honestly this car hasn't even moved since it's been brought over from next door. So yeah, it's just been sitting here. Now, I got all the paperwork taken care of, so it is mine. The title to the car is in my name. The Grand Am is obviously gone at this point, so as you can see, the wife's at work, but we're back down to 2 cars in the driveway. Sad. But anyway, and yeah, you can see, I've got a plate on it. However, that's the plate from the Grand Am, and even though I've got the plate for the car, I still can't drive it because, well, I have to wait for the other title to get out of my name. Now, apparently, I did not know this, but since I sold it to a school, and the whole purpose of the car is to, be a shop car, that car is never going to be on the road ever again. There is some other paperwork that is kind of required, I guess, from my understanding. So it's going to take a little longer for the title to clear out of my name. Now, even though I signed everything over to the school and, they own the car now, on my end back here, it will not clear for another few days. So I was all ready to go with this thing, but now I have to wait a little longer for it to be 100% legal. It's even insured. I already got the insurance put on it, so it's ready to go. But yeah, so I haven't really been able to do anything with this car yet, and it's been in the driveway for like a week at this point, and the title was changed over 3 days ago. So I just wait. So while we have to wait to drive it just a little longer, I figured today would be a really good vlog, while the sun's still out anyway. Today would be a really good vlog to go over the history of this car, and I did actually get the the original brochure, as I always do, so we can go over what the original features and stuff were on the LX model. But to recap some of the things that I bought so far, we've got our valve cover gasket ready to go. This cost me 12 bucks. I'm actually surprised we had one of those in stock at the dealership. This, however, was not so cheap, but I had to have it. I had to order it from our dealership, but it is the original Civic name to go back here on the trunk. So we're not going to do that quite yet. We're going to wait to do this when the weather is a lot warmer, but that'll go back there, and then we won't have that empty space anymore. So there's that. And I also have some transmission fluid. It's actually in the trunk of this car, so we will, once we're able to legally start moving, I hate these things so much, we will be doing the first transmission fluid change probably ever on this car, really. But but I'm going to do a couple of fluid changes. We're just going to drive with the fluid in there, and then we'll drain it out after 1,000 miles, and then put some other fluid in it, and just wait until it starts to look kind of normal, because it's probably pretty dark looking. Alright, so like I said, I can't wait to drive this thing. I've been eager all week to get it on the road and to really learn more about this car and start, doing all the things to it. But yeah, unfortunately, there's still a minor setback that we have to face. But like I said, we're ready to go with some of our repairs. So they just kind of sit in here for the time being. So to begin real quick, yes, we did get the official 2007 Honda Civic dealer brochure. You guys know how I am about my vehicle literature. That includes owner's manuals and the brochures. So being that this, is another car to add to my vehicle history, I thought it would be appropriate to find an actual dealer brochure. Found this for $10 on eBay. This seller, I have to really, shout out to the seller here, because I've ordered quite a few brochures from this eBay store. Production Cars is what it looks like it's called. Yeah, Production Cars, there's actually a phone number and stuff here. Specializing in original vehicle literature. Every one that I've gotten is always in excellent shape. In plastic with cardboard even, and yeah, the brochures themselves, this one is in brand new amazing shape. So shout out to Production Cars on eBay, and yeah, thank you so much for this brochure. I was actually really excited to get it, and yeah, it's in excellent condition. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time with this, because this I wanted this to just kind of see what the LX models came with in 2007. Now keep in mind, this particular 8th generation Civic came out in 2006. So this was like an all new car for 2006, and this particular generation here was in production up until 2011. And then in 2012, when the ninth generation was introduced, it was kind of similar. They did make some changes here and there, but it really, didn't change a whole lot, other than them just kind of adding some more busyness to this dashboard design. And I think they got rid of like the little corner windows here and just a couple of little things here and there. But that generation didn't last too long. It was from 2012 to 2015. And then in 2016, that's when my other Civic, the 10th generation, came out. And that was up until 21. And now there's a current 11th generation Civic that has been in production since 22. So in 2007, there was actually another trim below this. And I did not realize that. But let me open it up here real quick. So there was actually a DX model here, and then the LX was the second trim, an EX, the hybrid model, and of course the almighty SI. So one way you can tell back in 2007 what particular trim your vehicle was, because Honda doesn't really badge a whole lot unless it's a specific model, like a specific trim. So like today, for example, if it was like a touring model, it might have a touring badge. But like mine, my other Civics in LX also, and it doesn't have a badge on it. You can always usually tell by the wheels. So so these are the wheels that we have on our LX right now. You can tell it's different from the from the DX and even the EX. Starting with the EX trim, the wheels weren't hubcaps, or wheel covers I should say. They were actual aluminum rims. So, but this, basically everything that the DX has, this car for the most part also has, and the LX just added a few more features. So the DX came with a 140 horsepower, 1.8 liter, 16 valve IV Tech engine, which is what this has. Drive-by-wire throttle system. ULEV 2 emissions rating. It came with a 5-speed manual transmission. An available compact 5-speed automatic, which is what this one has. So that's one piece of optional equipment that this car has. Analog brakes with electronic brake force distribution. 15-inch wheels on the DX model. We have 16-inch on the LX, but I'll cover that here in a second. Tilt and telescoping wheel. Front side, and side curtain airbags. Driver's front and passenger active head restraints. Driver's seat with This is just a driver's seat with manual height adjustment. Yeah, this seat is still manual, yeah. Power windows, I'm surprised. Power windows. Daytime running lights, a 2-tier instrument cluster or panel, blue backlit gauges, lower anchors and tethers for children, also known as latch, and an immobilizer theft deterrent system. So the LX, notice I didn't say anything about a radio. The DX trim did not come with a sound system at all, or air conditioning. You'll hear that here when I read off the LX stuff. So, like I said, all of the stuff that was listed in the DX, this car pretty much has, with the exception of the automatic transmission. That is, like I said, the first piece of optional equipment this car came with. LX also adds a 160-watt AM/FM CD audio system with 4 speakers, MP3 capability, and Windows Media Audio playback. This one does have that. The MP3 auxiliary input jack, we have that also. The CD text display capability, so if we did have an MP3 player or an MP3 CD, back when you used to put MP3 files on a CD, and you put that in there, the display should read the artist and the song title and stuff. Some CDs had that technology too, come to think of it, so it may also, do that. Speed sensitive volume control, air conditioning with air filtration, cabin filter, the 16-inch wheels, security system with remote entry, cruise control, power windows with auto up function and down function for the driver's window, and power door locks. So that's it. I pretty much just read everything that this car has. And like I said, the only real optional equipment that this car came equipped with is the automatic transmission. If this car came with the 5-speed manual as the standard, then there would not have been any optional equipment on this car at all. Here's some more of the specs and stuff. I'm not going to really go through all of that because everything that I just mentioned has pretty much covered, like I said, what the window sticker of this car probably would have said. We do have a color chart. So this official color of this car is called Nighthawk Black Pearl, and it's the one right here. There was a wide variety of colors to choose from in 2007, so Nighthawk Black Pearl is our color, and it's pretty simple to see that these are gray seats. The LX fabric is different from the DX. These little circles kind of show it, but we do have the gray LX fabric seats. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover with that. So it really isn't too far off from my 2017 Civic, because literally the only piece of optional equipment that came equipped on my Civic back there was the CVT transmission, which replaced the conventional automatic on the Civics. So if mine had the manual transmission, then yeah, that car would have been 100% LX spec with no options. But being that I have the CVT, that was the only piece of optional equipment that car came with, and everything else was pretty much the same as this car. So yeah, I just find that to be pretty cool, to let you guys in on, what our actual specs and stuff are. So here we go. We've got the official Carfax here. It's a thick one, but when they printed it off at work for me, it's all pretty big text. So yes, a lot of people like to kind of hear about this stuff when I make these videos, and I've done a Carfax video on every project car that I've had on the channel since 2018, starting with the Aztec. The Grand Am had a pretty lengthy and sad Carfax history. That poor car was passed around. I'm pretty sure I was like the 9th owner of that car. And it's basically because that car just got passed around from auction to auction to auction. But according to this, there are 5 previous owners on this. That would be making me number 6, judging from, what I've read here. So This car, as I mentioned in the introduction video a few vlogs back, it does have a rebuilt title, so really not that big a deal. This car, honestly, I don't think you would know it, but like I said, I haven't really driven it. So, owner number 1 on the Carfax report is pretty short-lived. I don't even know why it's considered an owner according to Carfax. It literally looks like it's just the dealership taking delivery of the car. So it's very weird, but this car completed its PDI, pre-delivery inspection, on October 19th of 2006. So this car was definitely manufactured in 06. It was probably, let me see. Oh, the car was made in October 2006. So it is still somewhat of an early 07 model. Yeah, so the dealership, Germain Honda of Dublin, in Dublin, Ohio. That's pretty far from here. That's like 3-ish hours probably. I think that's near Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. So that was the original dealership who had the car. And like I said, the PDI, which the original PDI sheet is actually still in the glove box. I have not looked at it yet, but that's amazing. That's basically, in case you don't know what that is, that's when the car comes off the truck, a technician takes that car, and they basically follow whatever Honda says is their pre-delivery inspection. So check, make sure that this works, make sure that that works, check for this, and this. And basically, you shouldn't find any flaws with the brand new vehicle. Then once the PDI is done, the vehicle can officially be put on the lot and ready to be sold. The next thing here that it says as far as owner number 1 is on October 27th of 06, with 8 miles on the odometer, the first title and owner was reported in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. And there's even a title number here. So that's it. That's it for owner number 1. I don't know why that's so short. Owner number 2, there's quite a few things here actually. So the vehicle it says it was updated here. The title was issued and updated on November 1st of 2006. This is probably the real owner, I would assume, in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. And November 20th, the lien was reported on the car in New Albany. And then there's nothing else for the rest of 2006 until April 10th of 2007. It just says vehicle was serviced at the Honda of Dublin, Ohio dealership. Then, July 27th of 07 at 12,943 miles. Honda of Dublin did an oil and filter change. November 28th, 2007 at 19,720 miles. That dealership also did an oil and filter change and a tire rotation. Then that's it for 2007. October 1st of 2008 at 36,194 miles, the Honda of Dublin did a water pump pulley replacement. And then the very next day, with just a couple more miles left, for some reason, Midas in New Albany, Ohio, did an oil change, and they mount and balanced some tires. Doesn't say how many. And then that's it for 2008. In 2009, March 19th at 41,155 miles, Midas in New Albany did another engine oil change. April 6th of 2009 at 41,943 miles, John Hindier Honda of Heath, Ohio, did vehicle service. Does not say what they did. And then registration was renewed on April 30th of 2009. Then April 28th of 2010, it jumped a whole year. Registration was renewed when the owner moved to a new location in Pataskala, Ohio. I've never heard of that. I don't know where that's at. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Then on July 6th of 2010, 58,294 miles. John Hinderer, I can't talk tonight, Honda of Heath, Ohio, did vehicle service. Doesn't say what they did. Then that's it for 2010. May 10th of 2011, at 68,457 miles. That dealership also checked the engine and powertrain control module. So there must have been probably a check engine light or some other weird electrical thing going on maybe. It also had an engine oil change. Then on May 23rd of 2011, the registration was updated when the vehicle was moved to a new location in Granville, Ohio. And then that's it for 2011. So on January 5th of 2012, at 77,895 miles, Coughlin Chevrolet in Pataskala, Ohio, sold the vehicle. So the vehicle was traded into Chevy, it looks like, and then that same day, the vehicle went through a maintenance inspection, battery and charging system checked, fluids checked, oil and filter changed. That was probably like the, the inspection when it was traded in before it hit the lot. Oh, and yeah, so the vehicle was offered for sale the next day on January 6th. And then the vehicle sat there until January 23rd of 2012. And this car was purchased. A new title was issued in Pataskala, Ohio, on the next day, January 24th, 2012. So now we get to owner number 3, according to Carfax, and there's only 3 things here issued with this particular owner. So there's no mileage reports. It just says basically between 2012 and 2014, vehicle purchase reported, title issued, duplicate title issued is what it says. That was in Powell, Ohio. I don't know where that is either. And then owner number 4, the car made its way up north to where I am, apparently. So owner number 4, vehicle purchased August 22nd of 2014. Over 100,000 miles now, so we're at 101,729. And then a couple days later, a title was issued. There was no service records for 2014 and 2015. On January 10th, it says that the registration was issued or renewed. And then on May 27th of 2015, at 105,655 on the clock, the engine oil and filter was changed at a lube stop. And then in January 2016, registration was renewed. And that is it. Owner number 5 is my neighbor. And the last, there are a lot of service records here. So everything that I'm going to read off to you, honestly, is pretty much in this stack of receipts here. She took care of everything. So this is amazing. This is what everybody honestly should be doing with their cars if they're not. Keep good records and receipts. There are things in this bag that haven't even showed up on the Carfax. So that just goes to show you that depending on who services your car or where you take it or what's done to it, it does not always make Carfax. So having something like this is definitely the best way to go. That way you've got every bit of information. And this is everything that she's had since she bought the car in 2016. So kudos to my neighbor. I love this. But basically, just about everything that I'm going to read off here is in that bag. And there are a few things in the bag. There's one thing in particular in this bag that I do want to specifically read out to you guys. So she bought the vehicle on March 26th of 2016 is when the vehicle purchase report took place. A couple days later, title was issued. And then on March 30th of 2016, at 111,200 miles, she took it to Sears Auto Center to do an engine oil change. And then August 6th of 2016, there's no mileage here, but another oil change and a MPI was done. Then in January 8th of 2017, at 123,905 miles, Valvoline did an oil change. Then the registration was renewed in February. June 11th of 2017, at 131,160 miles, Valvoline did an oil change. They also replaced one of the brake light bulbs, and they did a high mount brake light bulb also, according to what this is saying. So then there's a registration renewal on July 12th of 2018. 147,273 miles. Lube Stop did an oil change and replaced the engine air filter. Now see, there's a large gap there in between the mileage, and according to what's in here, every oil change pretty much documented around 3,000 miles. So there's proof that this engine has been done every 3,000 miles. Then on October, so yeah, even like I said, Carfax isn't even listing every single thing that is in this envelope. October 3rd of 2018, at 151,467 miles, Valvoline did an oil change. 2019, we have a registration renewal. June 27th of 2019, 163,769 miles, vehicle engine oil change. November 27th, 2019, at 174,796, Lube Stop did an oil change. And then January 28th, 2020, 179,047 miles, Lube Stop did oil change. In 2020, registration was renewed. March 23rd of 2020, Valvoline replaced the engine oil filter, they did an engine oil change, air filter replaced, and front wiper blades were also replaced. 183,261 miles. August 18th of 2020, at 189,100 miles. A shop here in town that's really close to me, so I'm not going to list them. Oil change. And then January 9th of 2021, at 194,586, Valvoline did another engine oil change. March 21st, 2021, 197,947, Valvoline did another engine oil change. Then we had a registration renewal. June 16th of 2021, Valvoline did another oil change. We're over 200,000 miles now. 203,457. Then on July 24th, 2021, at 206,300, a shop did an oil change and they replaced all the spark plugs. October 7th of 2021, at 211,257, Lube Stop did a recommended maintenance. Doesn't say what it was, but it does say the cabin air filter was changed and the engine oil filter was, or the engine and filter, engine oil was changed also. Oh my god, I'm getting tired. November 28th of 2021, at 214,153, Valvoline did an oil change. And then on December 18th of 2021, a local Honda dealership replaced the passenger airbag assembly. That was due to the Takata recall. I actually have that paperwork stapled to this also, of all the recalls that this car has had per VIN. So yeah, that airbag was replaced because it came with a Takata airbag originally. January 15th of 2022, Valvoline did an oil change. February 14th of 2022, it says 218,000 miles. The ignition coils were replaced. And then on March 5th of 2022, registration was renewed. And then on April 14th of 2022, at 219,000 miles. Doesn't have an exact, they probably just estimated it at the shop. But looks like the front brake pads were replaced, the front rotors were replaced, did an oil change, and rear brake shoes also replaced. So had a brake job all around, sounds like, at around 219,000 miles. May 21st of 2022 at 224,073 miles. Loop stop, just as vehicle service, probably just an oil change. Then July 23rd of 22, 227,478 miles, oil change at Valvoline. August 31st of 2022, 230,300 miles, oil change. And then November 9th of 2022, that is when the vehicle was reported as a total loss. So as I kind of mentioned in the first vlog we did with this car, where I introduced you guys to it, she ran over, it was actually another piece of car on a dark road here in the area. It was a highway, and it was in the middle of the night, so there was nobody else out. Some other piece of a car was actually in the road, and it pretty much annihilated the front of this car. It took the bumper off and messed up the fenders a little bit. So yeah, insurance company apparently, probably because of the mileage aspect and the age of the car and whatnot, they total lost the car, but she bought it back and had a rebuilt title and all that stuff. So that's also in this bag. So then November 12th of 2022, oil change, 235,660 miles. Yeah, she was still driving it around without a bumper and stuff for a little while. December 5th of 2022, 237,149 miles. It just said vehicle serviced at another local dealership. And then December 9th of 2022, the salvage title and certificate was issued. Then January 10th of 2023, 238,294 miles. Pit stop, 10-minute oil change. Never heard of that place. Did an oil change, obviously. And then on February 1st of 2023, at 240,166, the rebuilt title was issued. Then on March 16th of 2023, 241,336 miles. Quick Lube here in town did an oil change. Then on June 3rd of 2023, at 243,955 miles, another oil change done by the same shop. August 10th of 2023, 246,029 miles, Valvoline did an oil change. And then on February 18th of 2024, 252,533 miles, oil change. And then on March 4th of 2024, the registration was updated. And then on September 24th of 2024, 259,200 miles. Another shop did an oil change, replaced the air filter. They replaced the exhaust pipe from what it says here, and they repaired another piece of the exhaust. That is it. And then, like I said, now we're at 261,692, I think. I don't have the key with me right now, but yeah. So there's a lot. This car actually has a pretty good service record history. Even before my neighbor took possession of the car, it looks like there was quite a bit of services done to the car. So for the most part, this car seems to have been kept up with pretty well, throughout its life so far. And like I said, Carfax doesn't even, this would be a whole lot thicker if every single thing that was reported in this envelope or this bag was reported to Carfax. So the last thing that I have with this sheet here is an actual VIN inquiry sheet that I looked up before I actually brought the car to my house. And it basically just has the original mileage when it was purchased. This says 7 miles. I think Carfax said 8 miles. But the PDI date, 10/19 of 06. The delivery date 10/20 of 06. I have the original owner's name here, and this is the sheet that has the recalls and stuff listed on it. So there are 4 recalls on this that have been closed. It looks like the 06 to 07 HCM Civic rear bearing was done. The brake switch, it says 2006 Suzuka Civic brake switch. So they had an issue with the brake switch, apparently did a recall on that. And then the 06 to 07 Civic pulley bolts brake. That was probably that water pump pulley that we seen. There wasn't a recall on that also. Then there are a couple of recalls on here that are associated with this particular VIN that hasn't been done yet. So the first one happens to be the one listing the Takata airbag here. We do know that was done. It's actually listed here on this because I don't know, it's got the warranty repair history for that one, but it was a warranty extension, so that original Takata airbag recall was changed a little bit, I think, to widen the variety of cars that might be affected by it, and that's why it's there. There was also a recall issued in 2011 for a sun visor split. I'm not exactly sure what that means. If it's this thing here that's cracked in the corner where the sun visor goes into the ceiling, that is probably what that is. So I could get a new sun visor probably, but I honestly don't know what the terms of that recall are. It could be expired already. So that's one that I could look at, but I'm assuming it probably has to do with where this arm goes in. If that's cracked, then the sun visor can probably come down. The other one, is that doing it too? The other one is not doing it. So we'll look into that now that I noticed that. No big deal. And then the last one, of course, I mentioned it, was the engine block cracking. That recall was issued in 2010. It already expired. So that recall had an unlimited amount of mileage for the 1.8 liter engines. Not all of them were affected apparently, but yeah, if you had the VIN, the engine with the VIN combination, I don't know exactly what they went off of, that build date or what, but you had a better chance of experiencing the cracking of the engine block leaking coolant out of the engine. And that's exactly what happened to my neighbor. Apparently, about a year into her ownership, the car actually broke down, and it ended up going to an independent shop who replaced the engine. So she had no idea that the recall even existed. The sad part is if she had known about the recall, she still could have had the engine replaced for free with the updated engine block. So that is kind of sad, but like I said, she didn't know about it at the time, and she just had the car towed to a shop near her at the time to have an engine put in it. And that's what I want to read to you today. So the receipt for said engine replacement is right here. And the nice thing about this particular receipt is that there are things on here, for one, that were also done to the car that, again, not on the Carfax. So there's some other things that we now know. And two, we have the specs from the donor car. So we know exactly where that engine came from. So this being an independent shop, they really didn't put a whole lot of information down. We don't know what the actual mileage of this car was when the original engine gave out. So that's kind of the sad part. Now, based on the receipts around the dates, because these are all in order. So this one here, hold on, 2017. Yeah, so this receipt came just before at 131,160. That was another Valvoline receipt. So that's the last receipt before this one, and then the one after it is just brake pads. Does not have any other information. It's like a handwritten receipt. So we can only assume maybe the car was, let's see, this happened in September of 2017. So maybe around 135,000 miles, we'll say. Maybe we'll say the car had 135,000 miles on it when the original engine gave out. So this shop put in an engine from a 2008 Honda Civic. That engine that's in this car now had 70,000 miles on it, or around 70,000 miles when it went into this car. So it was still pretty young itself. The VIN number for that particular vehicle that donated the engine to this car is here also. And yes, we did a VIN inquiry about that also. And yes, that particular Civic also had the engine block recall. If the recall was done, and it could have been done, it very well could have been, because you know, on that inquiry, it said something about there needing to be like, it needed to like be proven or inspected or something like that. So there could maybe be a chance that that is the updated block in this car already. We don't know 100%. That engine has, you know, definitely probably, you know, outlived its original, you know, mileage for sure. And it doesn't seem to be showing any symptoms yet. It seems like it's been treating her very well. So, I don't know. So we're going to go with the fact that just the, you know, always maybe kind of expected. Now, I know where to look for the cracks if I get suspicious, and obviously there's other telltale signs. If the car starts to overheat, or if I smell coolant, if I see coolant on the ground, if it starts cracking, you'll start to see like coolant that's kind of crusty on the crack line, because the coolant is obviously burning and it turns into like a crust. That'll be one of the telltale signs for sure. So there's that. But yes, we do know that that engine came from an 08 Civic at 70,000 miles, and this car, as mentioned, was probably at around 135-ish when the breakdown took place. On the same bill here, there's a radio that was replaced. So the radio that is in here now that does not work was already replaced once already. It was a used CD player, $50 apparently. So we're going to be in the same boat again. We have to go to the junkyard and pull another radio out of one and hope that it works. Also, it looks like the car had new headlight housings put in. They did put new spark plugs in that engine at the time when it was changed. And it looks like there was a front bumper installed and painted, so something must have happened to the bumper that was originally on the car to begin with. And an AC compressor was also replaced, as well as recharged. The system was recharged. Oh, and an oil change, of course, because we're changing the engine, we may as well change the oil. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot in this, and this is amazing. So another thing that we learned that isn't not on the Carfax is safe light. I don't know if it's this. I can't. The windshield could have been replaced, but there is definitely a repair order here for some sort of glass. Like I said, it could be a windshield. It does look like there's a different name on the corner there now that I'm looking. Hondas usually have a specific name, and that is not it from the looks of it. So the windshield at some point was replaced. This receipt is from August 13th of 2022. Just a few months before the car was deemed a total loss. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So keeping records is definitely something everybody should practice. Servicing your vehicle when service is required or recommended is another big thing also. So this car definitely, you know, gets synthetic oil, which means yes, we can run it on, you know, 5,000 miles. But in 2007, I'm pretty sure not a whole lot of cars were running a 5,000 mile interval, even if they were on synthetic maybe. So she was doing every 3,000, you know, just about every 3,000 miles. I'm going to continue to do that with this car, much like I did with the Grand Am. So this will always be a 3,000 mile engine when it comes to oil changes. It is almost due at, you know, at the time here. It was due at 262 according to that thing. So there's about like, what, almost 300 miles left on the oil here. So that'll be real soon. And like I said, still didn't see anything about transmission service, even in the, you know, things listed before my neighbor's ownership. So that's definitely, again, one of the first things we're going to do. And yeah, so that's it. That's all that I got. This was a very long vlog because there was a lot to really discuss about this car. But reading through all that, and, you know, I went through every single one of these the night that, you know, she gave these to me, you know. So I looked to see, you know, what was done. And yeah, it's just good to know. It's good to know what's been done and what's possibly, you know, gonna be needed. But again, there's a lot to this car that I don't know about yet because I had not been able to drive it. And hopefully that will change very, very soon. Even if I have to actually buy new plates and not transfer those ones from the Grand Am. So yeah, that's all that we've got for today. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed hearing the history of the vehicle, thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully the next time you see this car, we will be driving it. And that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all you. I will catch you guys in the next one. So thanks again, and take care.